Celtics game highlight is presented by T-Mobile.
Jaylen Brown, and he's going to be responsible to make a lot of plays for other guys on the court.
Throwing it up and throwing it down.
Al Horford back, making assist, and Robert Williams climbing the ladder.
Brown. Right up the gut. He is so good at cutting. Throwing hard. Oh, good defensive play, Horford. Pritchard. Oh, that was deep, too.
That was deep.
That was from way out. Beasley, that was rejected inside. Romeo gets a piece of butt to them. Romeo's out of bounds.
Big-time defensive plays throughout this game so far.
Horford, Pritchard will try. And knock down a three.
Good extra pass. Good job by Al Horford.
Jaylen a pull-up three. Knocks it down.
There you go, Jaylen Brown.
Celtics had 50 field goal attempts at the half.
What a sweet play.
It sure was.
That is the time, unreal weak side timing by Grant Williams.
Brown to the bucket, that was blocked. Lehman got a piece of it. Celtics able to get it back, and that is blocked. And then Brown throws it in.
Yeah, way to stick with it.
Noel goes to the basket and throws it down. McLaughlin. Noel for three.
Chris Finch understood that and called that timeout. They had one to burn, so it's a big stop for the Celtics.
Monroe now found Noel. Noel takes it to the basket, kicks it to the corner. McDaniel's going to take it and make it.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. How did he make that one?
T-Mobile, the leader in 5G.
Chris Mannix, Amina Smith here with you, and the Celtics lose this one to the Timberwolves 108-103. And this game was really lost between the third and fourth quarters, where the Timberwolves went on a 21-4 run. Chris Mannix, just how ugly did this game get?
This was as ugly as it gets, I think, for the Celtics this season. They've had a handful of really bad losses. This one might top the list. I mean, when we woke up this morning, Amina, Greg Monroe wasn't a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was signed like 8 hours ago, and he finished one rebound away from a double-double. Nathan Knight had never scored more than 8 points in a game this season. He dominated the Celtics in this one. Jalen Noel, Jordan McLaughlin, these are not really, many of them, rotation players for Minnesota, a team that was out without Karl Anthony Towns, without D'Angelo Russell, without Anthony Edwards. So having Jason Tatum being out and Marcus Smart being out is not an excuse for this Celtics team. This was a bad loss in virtually every possible way.
And when you take a look at this Celtics coming into this matchup shorthanded, knowing that that's not an excuse for this Celtics team to lose this game to the Timberwolves, just what does this mean at this point in the season?
I don't know, because you can sit back and say, look, when Jason Tatum is healthy, when Marcus Smart is healthy, the numbers say they're pretty good. Peyton Pritchard is playing with some confidence right now, yada, yada, yada. But they just lost to, like, the G League Timberwolves. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, you pointed out the numbers in the second half. I thought the Celtics, if they had put the clamps down defensively, they could turn an 11-point lead at halftime into a 20 or 25-point blowout. Instead, they let the Timberwolves shoot the lights out in the second half. They look lackadaisical defending from beyond the three-point line. We weren't not seeing maximum effort. I mean, here you see Greg Monroe, who was playing in the G League Showcase like a week ago, looking like the Greg Monroe from his near All-Star seasons 10 years ago. The Timberwolves moved the ball around really well. They're racking up assists, and they shot the three ball exceptionally well in that second half. The simple way to put it, Amina, is that the Timberwolves really wanted this game. It didn't look like the Celtics did.
And just like you mentioned, the Timberwolves shooting from three fairly well in this matchup, shooting 41% from beyond the arc. Just how come this Celtics team, how come they were not able to defend those three-point shots?
Now, I don't know. It's really hard to figure out, because watching the defense in the second half, the contests just weren't there. I mean, you can see Celtic players kind of run out and close out on Timberwolves three-point shooters, but they weren't really. I mean, they were, if you're a second or two late in the NBA, you're not close to it. There you see another wide open, top of the key three-point shot, wide open, corner three-point shot, or elbow three-point shot for Minnesota. They were just open on most of these shots all night long, and that's a problem for the Celtics. I mean, they have more than enough active defenders on this team to be able to contest those type of shots, but they were just too slow and just too late on these contests to make any kind of impact. That's perplexing to me. In a game that they should have won and gone home with a victory, they just gave it away with lackadaisical defense.
And Jaylen Brown tried to put the Celtics team on his back and step up and be aggressive. 26 points for him tonight. How much did he try to step up and be an all-star on this team with everyone being out like Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart?
Well, he tried. And look, there were plenty of problems we can dive into with the Celtics offensively. They didn't score enough in the paint. They didn't move the ball well enough offensively, certainly not as much as Minnesota did. But I don't pin this loss on the offense. It may not look like a big number. The Timberwolves put up 108 points, but if you look the way that second half unfolded, that was a defensive disaster, I thought, for the Celtics. At one point in the fourth quarter, Minnesota was 11 of 12 from the floor with their shots. I mean, how does that happen? I mean, Towns is one of the best offensive players in the league. He wasn't out there. Anthony Edwards is an explosive offensive player. He wasn't out there. D'Angelo Russell has been a high-level point guard. He wasn't out there. Look at the guys the Celtics were going up against, and they were just getting steamrolled out there in the second half. It really was tough to watch because this was a game that, in the grand scheme of things of this season, the Celtics kind of needed to win.
Yeah, and it really seemed like the Celtics had a good hold on this game in that first half going into that third quarter with the lead. You know, when you take a look at the Celtics and what they were able to do, just why were they taking their foot off of the gas in that second half?
That is a tremendous question that really has no answer right now because it's not just this game or the second half against Minnesota. They have played full games and even more stretches where the effort and the intensity just hasn't been there. And that's what I fall back on. I mean, I felt like this was a lapse in defensive effort in the second half of this game. They played with more effort, particularly contesting those three-point shots, battling more, keeping Minnesota out of the paint. They would have won this game. Instead, they just put it in cruise control after halftime and were never able to recover.
Scal joining me here on the desk. And Scal, this is probably the worst loss that I've seen all season by the Celtics. Your biggest takeaway after this game?
Fourth quarter defense? I don't understand. I don't understand why they take their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. Whether it's the other night against the Bucks, I guess it was Christmas Day against the Bucks. 5 minutes ago, Giannis comes in the game and he's flexing his muscles, making play after play after play after play. In this game, there's a great opportunity to establish yourself on the defensive end of the floor. You know, like it was one of those things where if you give guys open shots and they don't make them, that's fine to a certain extent, or maybe in the third quarter or the second quarter. But in the fourth quarter, you can't take that risk in a close game. And I felt like they just didn't play with force again late in the game, like in the last 12 minutes of the game. In the fourth quarter defensively, you have to get after it. You cannot allow anything. You can't allow the guy to bring the ball up the floor without turning him. You can't allow wide open shots. You have to be in people's airspace, and I was disappointed with the defensive effort in the fourth quarter.
So we know this coming in. Go ahead, Mannix.
Scal, I keep going back to the three-point defense. You know this. There's hustle, and then there's kind of fake hustle that's out there, right? And I saw a lot of fake hustle on the three-point defense tonight. Guys kind of, leaping when they're 5 feet away from the guy, acting like they're contesting a shot when they really weren't. I mean, the number of open looks that Minnesota had from three-point range tonight, G-Leaguers are going to make that shot, and G-Leaguers did make that shot in this game tonight. I couldn't believe the lack of effort on that particular side of the floor, side of the defense that the Celtics weren't giving tonight.
And I don't think that's just the fourth quarter. I think throughout the game, they weren't guarding that line. Yeah. And I kept saying, like, Celtics fortunate that this guy missed. Celtics fortunate that McLaughlin can't make a shot or McDaniels can't make a shot. So, yeah, eventually you have to guard. You do. You have to put some energy and effort towards that end of the floor. And I kind of felt they were playing with fire on a team's home court. Like if we were in the Garden and you don't want to do that against the G Leaguers. Like, those guys probably aren't going to deliver. I don't agree with it, but I can kind of understand it. On the road, like, guys are fighting and hungry. Like, this is jobs on the line, millions and millions of dollars at stake. You have to go out and make guys miss. You can't just sit there and hope that they miss. So I thought in this game, we were fortunate to be in the game where we were at in the third quarter and then really just letting go of the rope in the fourth. That was disappointing. We
talked about this in the pregame show. No Jason Tatum, no Marcus Smart, no Dennis Schroeder. Is that really an excuse for this Celtics team that went into this matchup shorthanded?
Man, Amina's bringing the heat today.
I heard her asking you early question.
Amina is bringing the heat. That's not an excuse, Amina. No matter what, no matter who you're playing, that's not an excuse. It's not. It's not. And even, like, I don't have a problem with it. I thought Grant Williams, let's say Grant Williams looked rusty or Al Horford looked rusty coming off of COVID protocol. Okay, fine. You can kind of make that excuse there. But I'm with Chris. I just felt like there was no fight. There was no force. Those are the things you have to have. They're the baseline of winning games on the road. And I just didn't feel like they had it today.
When I was eating lunch, Greg Monroe was not a member of the Timberwolves. Like, what are we talking about here? And he goes for nearly a double-double.
Maybe you were intermittent fasting. It's been a while.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been a minute. I can't tell you with a straight face that I had any idea who Nathan Knight was coming into this game. And he goes for 20 and 11 in this game. 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Jalen Noel, 29 points in this game. Fine player, but 29 points in this game. You're not getting beat by Towns, Edwards, and Russell. You're getting beat by Monroe, Knight, and Noel. That's unacceptable if you're the Celtics.
Yeah, definitely unacceptable. Scal wants to do nothing. He wants nothing to do with it.
The producers in my ear say, Scal, go ahead and respond to this and we'll move on. My mama said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Don't say it at all. I like it.